Hi, welcome to Control Talk now for the week ending August 10th, 2014. My name is Eric Stromquist. I am your host of this show that talks about HVAC, building automation controls, smart buildings, green buildings, big buildings, small buildings, all kinds of buildings, and all the controls that go with them. So what makes this possible? Well, my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Kenny Smyers from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kenny, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you very much, Eric. It's great to be here, and I am excited for the show because we got some great announcements. We have 9 entries, and it's a nice and cool day here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but it's not raining, and that's going to be makes it a good day. Had some weird weather here, really weird, cold. Haven't broke 90 degrees the entire summer so far. We're already midway through August. It's incredible.
Well, I tell you what, I think we got global cooling going on here, Kenny. It's bizarre. It's been cool in Atlanta. Here it is July. We're having, August. We're having 70-degree days. We had a huge thunderstorm last night talking about rain. As a matter of fact, did some damage to my roof, so there's noises in the background. It's because I've got roofers up on the house trying to fix them because the rain came in, got all over my lovely wife's Anna's vanity and messed up some of her expensive makeup, so the roof has got to be fixed. All right, big dog, we are running into some interesting things. It'd be interesting if anybody in our audience is seeing this too. It looks like Skype has made some major changes. Kenny is doing some weird stuff. That's been our go-to for all these episodes of Control Talk now. We can't get that to work, and apparently neither can anybody else. You got any feel for what's going on with Skype, Kenny?
No, I'm experiencing the same thing. It says that the Skype is not available, and I went to the troubleshooting thing, and there's probably 16 entries there saying can't get connected. I don't know. I'm always the person that has that conspiratorial explanation. We're probably forcing people into the commercial version of Skype. We use Skype for a long time. It's been a really reliable way to communicate and do the things we're doing. But I think either it's being overused and overtaxed by just the non-paying customers, or they're trying to give everybody a little wake-up call. And now that you've depended on their services, you're going to have to start paying for them.
Well, an indicator that, Kenny, that would lead me to believe your theory is correct is you were telling me that their advice is to go to Internet Explorer. That should be your go-to browser when using Skype. And for those of us who've used Internet Explorer, we know that you are in some serious trouble if that's your go-to browser. So enough of that. We fortunately have Google Hangouts, so if the show looks a little bit different today, it's because we're having to change everything up. And that's okay, because that's the way we roll. We're controls guys. We're used to troubleshooting problems and making it happen. So Kenny, let's get it kicked off. What do we have up first today, buddy?
All right. Well, the first up is we have Stromquist Atlanta upcoming classes. This is a really good post because I think it just keeps everybody back to nuts and bolts of how we make a living as distributors, and where the distributors play such a vital role in that two-step distribution, and how they service the local contractors and engineering community. I see you've got a chiller workshop for mid-August, August 20th through the 21st. You got basic pneumatics in September 9th. You have E&PIU finals September 10th. Boiler basics October 7th. Intro to DDC and building automation. I'm sure that's well attended because that's how we regenerate our next systems integrators are coming up through those classes, those introductory classes, and hopefully you get a bumper crop this year, and I hope you do well. Tell us more about the training that goes on at Stromquist because you got a new facility.
Well, we do have a new facility, Kenny. We reinvented the whole place. As a matter of fact, we tore everything down. We were all working in the warehouse this summer so that they could rebuild the internals of our facilities. For those who visited Stromquist and Company, we've been in the same facility. Well, the building that we were in has been there since the 60s, so it no longer looks like a 70s porn set. Gone is the shag carpeting. Gone is the dark wood paneling. It's a modern-looking facility. We pulled all the bells and whistles out, all the stops to make this thing great. And of course, the key of that is the Stromquist training room. So we actually plan on doing a lot of live streaming of training classes from our training room. But you're not going to be looking at a pull-down screen anymore. You're going to be looking at an 80-inch TV monitor. and we'll have cameras all over the place, so the sound's going to be fantastic. The room's going to look great. And, of course, the one thing that hasn't changed, Kenny, is we've got some great instructors on staff at Stromquist, led by our Tim Shambly. Tim is probably one of the best instructors, maybe in the U.S. for sure, maybe in the world. Tim has been in the industry for I'm not going to tell you how long he's been in the industry because he'll get mad at me, but he's been around for a long time, Kenny. Tim has taught at the local trade schools. Virtually every mechanic in Atlanta, every technician in Atlanta at one point in time has been in one of Tim's classes. He does these classes at Stromquist now. One of his most sought-after classes is his chiller workshop. Tim is a chiller guy extraordinaire. He also teaches the pneumatics class. We've got the boiler class coming in. And then our basic DDC class is taught by Rob Allen. And I want to do a little bit of a segue, Kenny, because, you know, you and I have, along with Ken Sinclair and others, have started a quest to identify and, for lack of a better term, glorify some of our young superstars, as we like to call them, the young guns. And these are people that are, you know, early 30s or younger, that have come into the industry, that are bringing a new light, a new energy to it, and I think Rob Allen fits that category. Rob is absolutely brilliant. He didn't actually come from our industry, Kenny. He came from a completely different industry, but he's really learned very, very quickly. Rob is a very good communicator. So Rob actually put together the basics of DDC Basics. It's about a 4-hour class. You can actually see it online. We've actually videoed one of the classes and posted it. So if you go on the right-hand corner of the website, click on Basics of DDC, you can see Rob in action. But I think what was really great about this, Kenny, you talk with a guy from a non-DDC background. He looked at it differently. He explains it differently. I think a lot of times we take things for granted in terms of everybody's going to understand the terms. So Rob really breaks it down. So it's a great course for somebody that's an absolute beginner that doesn't understand the jargon but wants to. It's also a great refresher course for people that have been in the industry for a while, maybe haven't taken that next step to actually being a programmer. But so definitely check that out. And also, Rob is one of the young guns. Kenny, talk a little bit more about our whole young guns philosophy and what we're trying to do with that.
Sure, Eric. Well, it's I think you, Ken Sinclair, Tree Sullivan, but then the people that do this, that were involved in the media. We had a little kind of a webinar meeting where Ken Sinclair took the initiative to repurpose Young Energy Group. I mean, Ken Sinclair really dug into this, and he started a LinkedIn group for Young Energy Group. But basically, Ken, to use his words, we need to reinvent, refocus, and repurpose the efforts that we're making to engage these young folks to get them attracted to our industry. That's part of our Control Trends Awards. That's part of our whole Control Trends Museum. Is that we need to establish ourselves as a kind of like the stewards of the industry. But the group is presently a bunch of old guys, and it's an old guys network. So even the young people that think they're young are actually growing old and don't realize it.
Yeah, guys like me and you who think we're young are really old guys. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hear somebody say it's between 70% of these positions are filled by people from 50 to 60 years of age, that means you have a lopsided age category of people that are doing this sort of business. So Ken has come up with some great ideas on how to inspire the people that are involved in IoT, the people that are interested in internet technology. Let's take that and let's combine those two lights, those two interests, the HVAC building automation industry, the IoT of things, and we can get a bumper crop of young people to come into a very worthwhile industry. Our industry is $120 billion. It depends on what source you go to, but it's up there with the largest industries in the world. With the automobile industry, with everybody else. And the thing is that we got to get another fresh recruitment of people to begin the baton pass. If we don't, then we're going to be in I know we're getting really good with computers, and we're relying on. I saw an interesting thing on London Real where they're saying how the mechanization of our industries. A lot of people are going to be replaced by machines, and it's not by accident. It's by design. So that we have to repurpose these people into new industries, take advantage of the human resource potential, and the ability to their human resources that are available and get them into the technical skills that can support, that give them a new profession and sustain our profession. So it's a mutually rewarding option, and we're just trying to keep spotlight on it, keep people focused and energized, so that we can get so we can accomplish something.
Yeah, I think our first young gun that we identified was a guy named Jason Hauk. We met him at Ibicon Realcomm. He's with Hepta Control Systems, brilliant systems integrator. You can go back and see we actually did a video interview with Jason. Rob works with us, so we're not going to interview him anytime soon. But you can see on Control Trends, Rob does a show called 7 Minutes in Control with Rob Allen. He kind of makes fun of us, talk about the young guys. He thinks we're a bit long-winded, so he thinks he can do it in 7 minutes or less, and actually does a really good job with it. So Rob is definitely worth checking out. But yeah, so we're going to keep that up. So if you have a young gun, young superstar that needs to be acknowledged, please reach out either in comments to me and Kenny or email us, controltrends@gmail.com, because we want to interview them. We want to shine the spotlight on them, because basically I think one of Ken and my missions here at Control Trends and the Control Trends Awards, we think it's a fantastic industry, but hey, we're kind of like the Rust Belt industry. We're all getting old. We're not attracting a lot of the young superstars that are out there. If you look at guys like Scotty Cochran, he's bringing people in from the IT world. I think we really want to shine a spotlight on why this is a really cool industry to be in. So that's part of the mission at Control Trends. We want to make sure that that young people can see how cool our industry is and see how much we appreciate young talent that's coming into the industry. So any help you guys can give us with that would be great. In other words, in the words of Jerry Maguire, help us help you. All right, Ken, anything else before we get on to the meat of the matter, so to speak?
No, I think that's a good transition point. Next up, we have the Control Trends Awards highlight the 2013 HVAC Control Vendor of the Year. So in the spirit of shining lights on our heroes and our superstars of our industry, let's take a look at Johnson Controls. So once again, congratulations to Johnson Controls. They were the winners of the 2013 Control Trends Awards HVAC Controls Vendor of the Year. And there's no surprise. Last year they introduced the FX PCG line. They introduced, they sustained the asset tool. They improved the FX appliance. So they did a lot of really strengthening in their end-to-end product lines, from the software to the hardware. And I really enjoyed their ABCS, the meeting they had out in Arizona. It was very informative. I mean, it's a very progressive company. So hats off to Johnson, and that's our segue into the Control Trends Awards. We have big announcements. The nomination period begins August 15th. So next week we're actually going to be starting the wheels turning for 2014 Control Trends Awards.
Right, Kenny, I want to just back up a minute, because you're right. I want to again offer my congratulations to Johnson Controls too for being the HVAC Controls Vendor of the Year. This is a really, Kenny, I think it's an important award because the way it's set up, it's worldwide. People vote worldwide on this, and in the way we actually had the voting process done, I mean, you could argue and say, well, that's cool. Johnson just got everybody at Johnson Controls to vote. Well, that's not the way it works. There is a pretty sophisticated algorithm we work with. So what that's telling Johnson Controls and the rest of the industry is that the majority of the customers that participated acknowledged that Johnson was the best. So these awards, I think, have a big meaning. Johnson didn't get nominated and voted on because they weren't just extraordinary last year. And I think you hit the nail on the head. They did a couple of things right. One of them was, they had a tremendous business conference, which was great. They really exposed their customers to the new products they had. The other thing they did that was really smart, in my estimation, Kenny, they invited us to come out and cover it. So we were able to, our Control Trends community, whether they were able to attend in person or not, the worldwide community was able to attend that conference because Johnson had us come out, video a lot of the stuff that was going on, so people that couldn't actually be there physically in person, or maybe people that weren't even Johnson customers, got a feel for just how cool Johnson was. And then the third thing they did, Kenny, which was really smart, they got involved in the process here. And this is important. I want to reach out and let everybody know there is a process. This is our third one. We're starting to get a feel for what makes people successful. And there are three things, Kenny. Basically, the first thing is you got to engage your own network. Obviously, your existing customers. You have to engage them, get them involved. get them where they're going to register to vote and where they're going to vote. But that in and of itself is not enough. I don't care how big you are or how big your network is, it's just not enough. The second thing that people are doing that's really successful is they are, through Control Trends, engaging the Control Trends community. And what we're hearing from more and more people is through Control Trends, they're finding new customers, but people are finding them through Control Trends. So by being involved in that and engaging the Control Trends community, it's good for business, and it puts them in a position to win at the awards. And then the third thing is obviously taking advantage of what we're offering all the nominees, the opportunity to come onto the show, to highlight your videos, to be interviewed, to let the rest of the Control Trends community know who you are. And I think if you do those three things, at the very least, you're going to get tremendous marketing collateral. You're going to grow the people that know about you and your product. And if you don't do those three things, Kenny, you're probably not going to win. And Johnson did a great job of doing all three of those things last year. And I got news for the rest of the community. Those guys are not sitting still. They're still innovating. So get involved. And with that, Kenny, let's get on. I know you were going to sort of go through some more of the process, but so why don't we? I sort of stepped on you a little bit. Apologize, but let me let you pick back up where you were.
No, I think you covered most of what I was saying there, because the process is that we are improving. The Control Trends Awards, we're in our third year, and we got a lot of feedback, and we took a lot of that feedback to heart. The Control Trends Advisory Group met. We kind of went over, rehashed categories, and we got some improvements and some changes to recognize more people in the industry. Again, this is all about recognizing the superstars and heroes that make day-to-day work look so easy and so repetitive and maybe even boring to the outside world. It's actually very vital. Every single building in the world has to have conditioned air. They have to have the services we provide. They have to have the maintenance of the equipment that that our people service. When I say ours, I mean I consider us all one community. Even though we have a stratification, and even we go from manufacturer to sales engineer and all points in between, we're all really from the same origin of the industry origin. So we've had a really good look at recognizing more people. Some categories have become two categories because we need to get more and more recognition on the people that really truly are great professionals. They're kind of never in the staged spotlight. They're never in that repository of any acknowledgement, and this is an opportunity to do it. So the more in the social media trends that would fall into, you just can't ignore it. It's not going to go away. In fact, we're seeing it slowly and surely that the traditional marketing, the efficacy of the traditional marketing, the impact it's disintegrating very quickly. So that we're seeing the people trying to figure out how to spend their marketing dollars. Well, taking that marketing dollar and putting it inside your own organization by energizing a social media stem that you could do communications between your agencies, your organizations, and also express what's good about your company, why people come to work, the why statement for your company, why you guys do something that everybody else does, but you do it just a little bit more, you do something different. So it gives people an opportunity to articulate what's neat about their company and what's neat about their people. So you're right, we could talk about this all day, and we got some more things to move on, and we're going to probably come back into this subject. So I think this is a good departure point to move on to our next entry. And this one here is just some really interesting information, important information for all the Belimo customers out there. Belimo is moving. They are moving to a new facility, a new gargantuan 200,000 square feet on Mount Belimo. It's going to be an amazing facility to visit, and I can't wait to do that. But it's going to be the source of all your new products coming from Belimo. But they came up with I think a very good incentive and solution for that period of time, the movement time from orders placed with Belimo between August 1st and 15th, 2014 get a 60-day payment term. So in order to cope with that possible availability issue with inventory, Belimo is offering all their customers to place larger orders and project what their needs are going to be during this transition period. So to maintain delivery schedules during the move, production lines will relocate in stages from September 8th through September 30th. Belimo is increasing inventory levels at stock product and additional capacity to the Sparks, Nevada production unit and shipping facility. But they're asking everybody to please take to heart that this move is going to be good for everybody. It's going to be good for Belimo. It's going to be a state-of-the-art facility. But in that interim, here's some offer. There's some good ideas to take advantage of.
Very cool. Well, and Kenny, we're hoping we can get up and actually maybe cover the grand opening of the Belimo facility. It's going to be fantastic, and these guys do so much right. And again, thank you to Belimo, who is a platinum sponsor of the 2014 Control Trends Awards. They committed early, as did Johnson Controls and did others, which we will thank profusely throughout the show. So thanks to Belimo for that. And yeah, if you have additional inventory that you're anticipating, definitely want to try to get those things on order. I know distributors like us, master distributors that sell to other distributors, have beefed our inventory up to try to help too. So definitely check that out.
Okay, Eric, moving on, we have, again, a Control Awards highlight. This was on the 2013 Building Application of the Year. This in particular was one of those categories that we've got some exciting news about, but not to belabor the point, congratulations to DG Logix for winning the 2013 Building Application of the Year. Their graphics and analytics package, DG Lux, is used by building automation control professionals and end users across the globe. So there was another, just a release of a great product, DG Box, and then they made improvements to it this year. So I'm sure they're going to be contenders again because, like you said, the people that are on the move aren't standing still. The obstacle becomes the way. So whatever you're having problems in the market, instead of that being something that overwhelms you and suppresses your progress, that's going to be the fuel now to get around and to solve the problem. So when HTML5 came to to the controls and building automation world, DG Lux and DG Logix was there to get it as fast as possible and to integrate that into their existing. They've probably got a tremendous base out there, the customer base, and you can upgrade to HTML5, and so they're going to be on the move again. But congratulations to DG Lux and DG5.
And also thanks to those guys too. They're platinum sponsors. They came on early. All 3 years they've committed early, which is allows us the advantage to that, Kenny, is once we know how much money we have to spend, it allows us to go out and get the talent and make the show absolutely incredible. So yeah, many thanks to DG. They got their DG5. They're using HTML5 now, so that product is being revolutionized and easier to use. And Eugene, Arthur, the whole crew out there is just really cool. So those guys are super sharp. So thanks to those guys for what they're doing. All right, Kenny, I tell you what, while you introduce the next thing, I'm going to adjust my thing because the sun came out and I'm looking like I'm bleached out. So what's up next?
All right, Eric. Next up is the Energy Department. The Department of Energy invested $6 million to increase building energy code compliance. We probably have posted something new from the Department of Energy every week, and I think that just shows you how the BTO, the Building Technologies Office, has awarded $6 million again. They awarded $6 million last week, but I'd love to see that pulse come out in our industry. It's only going to give our people, whether they're manufacturers or contractors, the incentive, the private sector, the incentive to go out there and make our grid smarter, make our energy use of energy more efficient. But just to give a quick summary, the Building Technologies Office awarded $6 million to fund projects that will, number one, measure current residential energy code compliance rate using a methodology that provides statewide results with 90% reliability. Two, implement an education, training, and outreach program designed to increase residential building energy code compliance. Three, measure post-program residential building energy compliance rates. And four, the project will investigate whether the investment in education in itself and the investment in training in itself and outreach programs can produce a significant change so they can take these methodologies to a grand scale, to a larger level. So they picked 6 areas. These are non-government entities, particularly utilities, that could influence the residential market to make substantial investments in energy savings. So just to give the quick list was the National Association of State Energies Offices in Virginia, Maryland Energy Administration Office, Appalachian State University in North Carolina, Midwest Energy Efficiency Alliance in Chicago, Institute for Market Transformation in Washington, D.C., Performance Systems Developments in Ithaca, New York, and the final one is the Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance out of Atlanta, Georgia. Well done, Atlanta.
Well, Kenny, I got to tell you, I joined the Green Chamber of Commerce here in Atlanta, and I want to reach out and tell our community, I think there's a great opportunity here, just to put it in perspective. So there was a building here in Atlanta The guy gave the presentation, and they basically, Kenny, went and they saved a bunch of water, okay? And there's a company here who works with leads to make sure the lead certification's okay. And so they did this presentation. They saved a bunch of money by replacing the toilets with more efficient toilets and doing some other things like that. And then the leads person stood up, Kenny, and was talking about the fact that to meet the certification, they obviously had water meters put in, but they are going in manually once a week per the lead requirement and the requirements to get some of these rebates, manually writing down what the water consumption is as part of the reporting process. And of course, I'm sitting here thinking about that. I know this particular building has a building automation control system in it, and you start thinking about guys like Eugene with his package. Scott mentioned the J2 Innovation folks, the Sky Foundries, all the great graphic people and analytics people that we have in our industry, and here these very enlightened people, okay, who had this job that entailed tons of money. The job wasn't expensive to do. It had a great payback on it. But Kenny, here they are. They're walking around with a clipboard, the guys in the building, writing the data down so they can put it in a spreadsheet to submit it. And of course, I'm going, oh my gosh, we can help those people. They had no idea that we could just bring this in through the automation system and through one of the packages like we talked about, create these reports automatically. So I say there's a huge opportunity for our Control Trends integrators and other distributors to get involved. Find out if, at the local level, I mean, it's a huge thing, like Kenny, you keep reporting on it, about the money that people are investing to have the buildings be more efficient. The government, there are people out there that are selling toilets and all kinds of other crazy stuff that are tapped into this and taking advantage of it. So get involved with that. But I was just sort of blown away with all these enlightened people, and here we've got this ability to bring this in and make their life easier, and they didn't know it was available.
Well, Eric, it's that, we talked, again, to mention Ken Sinclair in collaboration and Mark Peacock in collaboration. Imagine that you have a building still that's 2014. It's got tremendous infrastructure. It's got a network in there. It's got a building automation system. It's probably modern and top notch, but they still don't have the linkage to understand. You have wireless meters out there. You have all these options that you could take all those manual processes and integrate them machine to machine and produce amazing results. But I think that's where our jobs, again, that you talk about the roles of the various people, the distributors, the contractors, the integrators. We still need, as the economy slows down, maybe with new construction or whatever, we need to get out and knock on the doors and get into those influential circles and explain to people, we need to talk, we need to have a conversation how you can maximize or leverage your existing infrastructure, your existing DDC system, because it's all there. It's just sometimes it's a very difficult last mile or last 100 yards to get people to understand the steps to take it. We're seeing more people coming out with the forms are already filled out, so you get a rebate for your VFD. So if I quote you a VFD, I also give you the attachment. The second attachment is your rebate submission to a utility or to a Commonwealth, to some state. So we've got some work to do, but that's why there's great products. Some new VFDs coming out in that category. Energy meters. Honeywell's got the fabulous Denmon, and now it's they had the Emon, Demon. It's just there's so many options out there, but still you got to get that silo of information from that standalone environment into the integrated, that convergence application. So still got a lot of work to do. But
well, we do, Kenny, and I think that to me, I think the role of the distributor is, well, the enlightened distributor, I should say, is more important than ever, because I know a lot of people are looking to the distributor that has multiple product lines they're handling to become more of an advisor. And I want to just take a quick second, mention a guy we hadn't talked about on the show in a while, a guy named Mark Jewell. Mark, along with Jack Connell and the folks at Honeywell, put together a fantastic seminar, if you will, on how to talk to customers about making investments and the type of stuff that we sell. And you got to check those guys out, because I tell you what, the challenge that most of us make is we get into the technical part of it. One of the themes that both Mark and Jack turned us on to was that in building automation now, there are multiple people involved, and it's becoming a part of the brand to be socially responsible and sustainable. I know at a couple of the buildings that we did projects on, I mean, their head of marketing is very aware of what's going on because they realize how important it is to be sustainable, to be part of their brand. So you got to learn to talk to the people. We've said it before on the show, Kenny. I think the product, you have to have a great product to be even in the game, but you have to be able to explain it in a way that multiple people can understand and grasp the concept. And that usually, with the exception of the engineering types, has us speaking a language that most of us aren't comfortable speaking. So Mark Jewell is a guy to Google. You can go back on previous posts on Control Trends. We have them in there. Jack Connell and the team at Honeywell had their EEO program. Is just a fantastic program. So check those out as well.
Well said, Eric. I think that's just the ongoing training and the ongoing webinaring of salespeople in general it's an investment, but it pays handsome dividends. So that like you said, they can talk the talk. They can provide that ROI narrative at that very crucial moment where things are going, you get things close, people get it, but they still need to get that last, that last mile, or there's a term that's being used frequently, but I like the one that says the last 100 yards, like wireless does inside of a building. It's that last bridge that needs to be connected, and it requires that what we had learned from the Niagara Summit, even though you got to get a conversation going. You got to get all the stakeholders in the same room at the same time and run the same desk, and then you have to kind of really truly direct the conversation to an outcome.
Well, you do. And speaking of that, Kenny, let me just give a special shout out to our friends at Intelligent Building, Tom Shurtliff and Rob Murchison. We met those guys a couple of times. I think they're going to be coming to the awards this year. But great guys, and to your point, that's what they do. I mean, they are great at getting all the stakeholders at the table, outlining, designing, and making sure that project goes in. It's not as simple anymore as just writing a specification, having a controls contractor come in and install the system and then walk away from it. It's much more complicated than that, so you have to, quite often you need to get somebody like Intelligent Buildings involved to make that happen. And if you think about it, Kenny, then we'll get on to the next topic. I mean, if you look at the really great people in our industries, guys like Ed Merwin and Scott Cochran, what makes those guys so great is they take the complex and they break it down into simple terms where guys like even I can understand what they're talking about. So I think communications is going to be a key component of being successful in the future. If you ever get a chance to attend one of Ed Merwin's Sensei trainings from Vicon, you definitely got to check him out. He's the prime example of that. So lots going on, Kenny, but we have to sort of reconfigure how we go about doing business to be successful with all the changes going on. And of course, through Control Trends, we endeavor to keep you posted. So you're not going to get thrown a curveball without knowing it's coming.
Well said, Eric. I know we have to take all that into heart too. I hear us say these things, and I'm thinking to myself, "Dang, boy, I wish I was getting a little bit more done myself." But the self-improvement stuff, it's always there. What's really good about things is available online. So
it is. It is. And one of my teachers, Kenny, used to say, "When the going gets tough, you get what you practice." So practice, practice, practice.
Alrighty. Well then, here's a good segue. Tree Sullivan asks, how do you spell IoT Smart Building Analytics? And Tree Sullivan, of course, is with buildingcontext.me, great area of intellectual commentary. She knows her stuff, and her point of view is the Silicon Valley. She's our eyes and ears of Silicon Valley. And but she really came up with an interesting kind of a question, and the question is that we're getting a lot of pizzazz, a lot of noise from the IoT. Big IT companies are running campaigns touting their roles in the upcoming, battle of the space, battle of the building space, battle of the cloud space. And you've got the big players, Intel, Dell, Microsoft, Google. And where were they, last year? But they probably were always in the hunt, and always, now you've got Sprint, you got the telecommunications, companies also saying, well, we're in the space too. Cisco says, hey guys, we're the 6th utility or the 5th utility. You can't even put a building together and make it modern without our Cisco routers. So they've all been kind of hovering within the building space on the other side. But and then she compares the operation technology, which is basically the building automation control firms that have been around, since day one, and they've slogged through decades of navigating relationships with big equipment manufacturers to tap the silo type of data into necessary integration, using those protocols, whether it's Modbus, OPC, BACnet, LAN, and just a tremendous victory. When Tritium came out with the Niagara framework to do all that normalization of all these proprietary protocols. It was like an amazing event where we used to sell things that we said were open, but we knew secretly they weren't completely open. It was like proprietary law and proprietary backup, and all of a sudden, boom, now we're really truly open protocols, and it's an incredible decade, almost a decade, probably 7-8 years now, we're really performing at that level that we wanted to, and then here comes the next, potential intersection where we might not have the opportunity to maintain that progress. It might be taken from us, so to speak. But she says, so who's really in charge here? The IoT marketing leaders versus the OT efficiency experts and operational experts. So you've got a lot of big dollared accounts out there looking at the building space, but you really truly can't get past the people that know how air and water move within a building. So it's a great juxtapositioning of the perception of IT and the Internet of Things versus the realities of operation technologies and the real true ability to move air and water. So Therese does a really good job. And then she expands on it. It's a great post. We recommend everybody in the Control Trends community go to that post because it's a very informative and long, and it's got some information about what IBM has done, some of the GSA projects, ESI, one of the top master systems integrators in the world. They talk about SkySpark and how it truly works, where we have simultaneous calls for heating and cooling, and that's not necessarily going to generate unhappy people, but it's certainly an inefficient way to run your building, or dampers or valves that are blocked open. This the ability to use the IoT now, but we didn't call it IoT then. We just called it building management, and understood that. So in GSA, they're really truly a large portfolio of buildings, and they are very interested in everybody's suggestions and solutions. So great post, and great job by Therese Sullivan. We'll probably have more from Therese in the very near future.
Yeah, Therese really is quite the writer, Kenny, and she's kind of unique because she comes outside of the industry, which I think could be an advantage and a disadvantage. But I think the advantage for her is that she is coming outside the industry. So because she is coming from the outside looking in, she's maybe not blinded by some preconceived notions or wishes that maybe some of the people in our industry do have. So we really like her perspective. We like the way she puts it on paper. I mean, it's, she could be a novelist as far as I'm concerned. She just writes so well, and she tells a really compelling story, as do you. So I think that one of the great things about Control Trends is it's like we got the two best writers on the planet that are contributing on Control Trends in a written form. So thanks to Therese for that, and I concur with Kenny. Check her out. She's got something to say.
Right on it. Thanks for that compliment, Eric. It's nice to hear positive statements, but I think what's happening is, again, we need voices. We need people with different perspectives to give us a clue of what's happening, and to maintain good, solid, feet on the ground understandings of where these new technologies are going to go and how soon they're going to be implemented, and what the impact's going to be. And the only way to do that is to get yourself is not to be isolated to one single point of view, but to stratify your understanding of what's going on and how it's going on at different levels, different tempos, and and what is going to affect your business. But I think to not know what's going on is a very serious problem. You've got to stay in the loop, and Therese does a good job of helping us with that Silicon Valley. She interprets what that stuff means, that we don't really have a hands-on day-to-day knowledge because we've never worked on systems and chips, and we've never seen Google's implementation and buying this out, and somebody like Intel stacking a tremendous amount of technology, one on top of each other, buying a security company, they bought all the companies and then laying them on a new stack, implementing a new protocol, and what does that mean to your traditional two-step distribution people?
All right, Kenny Smyers, what do we have up next?
All right, well, again, Control Trends Awards, thanks to Contemporary Controls for becoming a platinum sponsor. Contemporary Controls is your ideal partner for applying technology to is your ideal partner for applying network technology to automation projects. And just want to give a real quick thank you and shout out to George Thomas and his team out there at Contemporary Controls. Our post for this week, Control Trends, Control Talk Now, is the 3 products that Contemporary Controls, they've just been so silent and quiet, but they're like a big powerhouse in the background. Everybody's using them, but they probably don't even know sometimes that some of the things they're buying came out of Contemporary Controls. But these guys are the masters of the network. The feature we have is ControlLink, VAS Automation, and the EIS K8GT. And one of the important things that I wanted to highlight real quick was the security. The Scorpion router, for people that are dealing with the day in and day out issues of internet IT security, Contemporary Controls has a solution. Please visit them. The hot link will take you right to their security solutions. And once again, thank you to Contemporary Controls.
Well, I tell you what, George Thomas, we've talked about him on the show in the past, Kenny, is one of the smartest guys around, and I think we're going to be doing a little bit more of a biography of him later as time goes on. But George, I mean, I put George in the category of, when you look at Apple Computer, you have Steve Jobs and you had other guys, Steve Wozniak or whatever, who was the guy who actually, built the stuff and made it work. And George is that type of a guy, just a truly, he's the smartest guy in the room. But, he's also the type of guy you would never know it because he's kind of a humble guy, but he's brilliant. And Contemporary Controls, Platinum sponsors, guys, we cannot tell you how much we appreciate that. So those guys are awesome. We have a lot on the website with Contemporary Controls. They did a whole series of BACnet training videos, which are extraordinary. If you want to get up to speed on BACnet, you need to go to the Contemporary Controls website, or you can just do BACnet training on Control Trends. We have them up there. These guys, George and Kurt and the rest of the team, are all on the move. And like I said, you're probably using their products and not even knowing it. And the Scorpion router is just another great way to sort of deal with this trend. Kenny and I have been tracking the whole building automation, security thing, how important that is. So that that great product, and then you got to, in the same breath, acknowledge LinkSpring and the Cyber Pro and Mark Peacock and that team over there. So again, thank you guys so much. Contemporary Controls announced this week they're platinum sponsors for the 2014 Control Trends Awards. So guys, thanks.
Oh yeah, and one thing to add there real quick, George Thomas and Contemporary Controls are coming up on their 40th anniversary, and that just shows you the length and breadth of their success, and how George has overcome probably every single challenge an entrepreneur can be tasked to overcome because of the competition, because of changing technologies. But what a stalwart in the business, and he's chaired and supervised and been part of numerous committees and organizations to share his technology, his expertise. But you're right. You're talking about a guy that's a self-starter, out of the basement of his house, putting things together that were way ahead of his time, and really and truly how PLCs work, and then took that kind of expertise and that interest to the next level. So now Contemporary Controls can provide you with all the tools you need for building automation, all the tools you need for network, and certainly for any industrial application.
Good stuff, Kenny. What do we have up next?
Well, we were already kind of leaked into it with the mention of security, cybersecurity. Next up is Mark Peacock's executive briefing, cybersecurity, points that need to be part of the conversation. And we have two parts to this. Mark's got a nice post there. It's on the Control Trends site, and then there's more to read. But basically, Mark is a vice president of marketing for LinkSpring, and his primary interest has been focusing on cybersecurity. I know he belongs to several advisories and committees on representing building automation to the federal government, Homeland Security. So Mark is very committed, but he can't put enough emphasis on how today's connected business world means that there are thousands of entry points in and out of companies that are vulnerable. And the truth is that the network security does not work well as we thought. Hackers, breaches, vulnerabilities, threats, we can't ignore them. They are all undesired events, and cyber threats are changing constantly. So the question is, what are you doing organizationally? What are you doing individually to protect yourself and your companies, your organizations against these cyber attacks. So they're going after specific companies and systems. They're trying to steal specific information that cause DOS attacks against specific systems or network devices that serve as pivot points to gain access into the business network. So there's, and additionally, there's all these unpatched systems that hackers scan for vulnerabilities in their systems, and that the cyber criminals use a variety of things every day to break into companies. There are thousands and thousands of exposed, unprotected devices on the internet, and if you're in charge of those, or you have a responsibility, that you should take an active, you should go from a passive state to a to an active state, and trying to, lessen your vulnerabilities or eliminate them, and then of course there's more information on that post that takes you to the executive briefing that's available. It's a LinkSpring documents on cybersecurity. It's a great white paper on steps to take to protect yourself against cyber threats.
It's something else, and Mark's great. We got, Fred Gordy contributes from McKinney's. He's an evangelist. You can see his stuff on Control Trends too. Kenny, I got to tell you, I had to go to sort of a less desirable part of town to call on a client. I was running a little bit early, so I pulled into the local McDonald's to have a cup of coffee. As I'm sitting there, there are these two women that are not really affluent. They're from a different part of town, if you know what I mean, and they're talking and. They're talking about hacking and protecting their systems because people are hacking into their systems. And I hear the one woman tell the other woman, well, my two sons are hackers. They're professional hackers. That's what they do. And they say you got to clear the cookies every this and this because this is how they get in. And I'm thinking, that is the new outlaw, the hackers. And at that level, again, in a less than affluent part of town, with less than affluent people, and these two women are talking about hacking, and the one woman saying, yeah, my two sons are professional hackers. That's how they make their living, and they say you got to make sure you clear your cookies out every day and this stuff. Unbelievable. It is. I think going to be, if it's not already, it's probably the new hip subculture, and you're going to go from rap music to hackers.
Well, Eric, I don't want to belabor it again because when we talk about it, again, we're like the shoemakers, we walk around with holes in our shoes, I got to make sure that, we don't have, we're hacked and don't even know it. But, to me, I make the, it's almost like you got to think the worst case scenario. I think some of the, we always plan for the worst, and have your story ready, as Fred Gordy said, because if you come under the scrutiny, if you have something and you're not careful, I have an article here in front of me from Security InfoWatch, and it's titled "Playing Russian Roulette with Internet Security." And the Russian roulette, of course, is tied directly to the biggest people in the cyber world. The villains, so to speak, they have different names on it. But this week, the massive internet attack compromised 1.2 billion credentials. It's just the tip of the iceberg, and I want to read a couple components of this thing because you're not going to believe some of this stuff. The latest Russian attack was reportedly discovered by the U.S. security firm Hold Security out of Milwaukee, which has been credited for discovering the Adobe system data breach in 2013 October and the much publicized Target breach in December. According to Hold Security executives, they were able to identify a Russian cyber gang following 7 months of exhaustive research. The group, which Hold Security dubbed CyberVor, Cyber and VOR, was in possession of the largest cache of stolen data they had ever detected, more than 4.5 billion records stolen from over 420,000 web and FTP sites, both private and commercial. Now, this is getting to the point where the rapidity and the actual speed in which these cyber hackers are successful is actually good for the industry, good for the consumer in the long run, because it's going to accelerate the whole transition from passwords and usernames into something that you were talking about. In other words, there's not going to be a choice. We have to take the technology. People cannot remember 8 letters, alphanumeric strings with the ats and the ones and the dashes and the pound signs or whatever, or hashtags, because the average human being can't do it. So they wind up using one password for every site, which compounds the issue right now. So they're saying that there's going to be there's some very, very intelligent people and governments involved now, and they're going to come up with a way to basically take do a leapfrog over the technologies that we're using right now to protect our IT security. So some of the things that you had mentioned, the pictures, the sentences, they're going to become the next wave. So it's like with the Marx theory of the thesis, then you have an antithesis, then you have the synthesis. Well, that's going to be one of those things again. So right now the bad thing is causing a rapid reaction to it to deal with the issue, and then it's going to cause a change that we're going to see probably. We'll keep this as a trend. Mark Peacock keeps us advised weekly, daily on the security things, and we're going to keep reporting them in control trends. But by this time next year, we're going to be introducing some very interesting products, I bet you.
I agree, Kenny. We're going to be on top of it. What we have up next, Big Dog?
Well, the last entry, Eric, is KMC Controls is on the move. KMC joins the 2014 Control Trends Awards as Platinum sponsors. Just a little bit about KMC. Well, first of all, thank you, KMC. And Eric, again, to me, it's exciting because it means that we're really penetrating the layers of the HVAC world. And we started at our points of origin where we had the most direct contact with the industry, and now we're seeing that once we're inside this the shell of the industry, we're going right and left and top and bottom and deep and wide and globally. We're going to Madrid next month. It means that the Control Trends Awards is truly expanding its coverage. We regret that the first maybe one or two versions of it, we only could get people that we knew excited and the people that were part of the Control Trends community. So what happened was the Control Trends community has grown, number one. Number two is that we have deeper inroads into different things like controllers. We understand now, we've got some feedback on categories where we know now that there's different types of controllers, plant controllers, VAV controllers, and that one can't necessarily be considered against the other. But the idea that we're magnifying attention to people's corporate histories and corporate products and corporate people is a wonderful thing in itself, and that we illuminate their superstars each time we get a chance to do it. Now, KMC, for instance, they've been around a long time. Since 1969, they've been just, again, a big, powerful, quiet manufacturer of controls. Unlike some of the other manufacturers or people that sell controls, these guys manufacture the controls, and they sell a great deal of their controls that they manufacture under OEM labels. But it's just it's a great story to read about and to understand. But they've got a mission statement that is very straightforward. They have KMC Controls is committed to the design of energy savings and environmentally sustaining building automation products that are developed, manufactured, and supported by creative and dedicated people. And their vision is to increase the market share and sustain profit growth by offering our customers market-driven solutions through continuous improvements, implementation of new technologies, and environmental consciousness while fostering the development of well-being of their employees. So hats off to KMC. Thank you very much. And
oh yeah, Kenny. Well, listen, I want to weigh in a little bit on them too. So thanks to Nate Kerr and Doug Miller at KMC for stepping up to the plate. Really appreciate those guys. They make great products. Anybody who's been around the industry for a while, you've seen what we call the stop sign, which was the pneumatic VAV velocity reset controller. There are probably more of those on the planet than any place else. KMC, that's their product. An American company. I mean, Indiana, I think. So that just great ethics, great integrity working with those guys. Their Simply VAV controller is going to be a strong contender in the VAV controller of the year, and that was one of the changes that Kenny and I are talking about with the categories. We're refining those. We'll have a final before they go out. The nomination goes out on the 15th. But for example, instead of having the building automation controller of the year, we're going to have the building automation plant controller probably, and we're also going to have a separate category which is going to be the building automation VAV controller of the year, and KMC will play in that arena for sure. But these guys are great, Kenny. We're thrilled to be working with them. I think, like you said, getting more people involved, which is the point of the Control Trends Awards, is to really bring the industry together, and it's just fantastic that people like Contemporary Controls and KMC are stepping up in a big way as platinum sponsors. So you're going to hear a lot more about both those guys as we go through the process here, getting ready for the 2014 Control Trends Awards. So good stuff there. To let everybody know again, if you haven't received your sponsorship package, the prices for sponsorship go up on August 15th. So if you're on the bubble or if you haven't received those, please review it. Let us know. Sponsorship, oddly enough, Kenny, I mean, it's kind of interesting to be able to say this. I think we only got 1 or 2 platinum sponsorships left, just with the nature of the venue and everything else. So the sponsorship packages, believe it or not, are those opportunities are starting to diminish. And at a certain point, we might have the first time ever, which is a great problem to have, to be able to tell people, hey, we're sorry, the sponsorships are full, because we got a certain number of tickets that we can have for this event, which is going to be huge this year. Again, it's a little bit different venue. That's part of the reason we had to go up on the prices. It's actually going to be in the same facility, so you can actually walk from the AHR show to the Control Trends Awards event, and it's going to be in the early evening from 6 to 8, so you can actually leave the show, go to the event, enjoy it, and then go on to your evening event. So it's going to be spectacular. And by getting the sponsorships in, when people step up like our platinums have, it allows Kenny and I to go ahead and plan, make sure that the event is absolutely spectacular. So Kenny, let's thank all our sponsors real quick before we sign off. So again, we mentioned Contemporary Controls and KMC Controls came on this week as platinum sponsors. You want to walk us through who our others are real quick?
Alrighty, give me a sec.
I think I got them. I just don't want to miss anybody because we so appreciate them. But obviously, DG Logic, Easy.io with Mad Mike Marston, and that team has always supported us from the get-go. Johnson Controls, Belimo, we mentioned both of those early, LinkSpring, Vicon, and I think we had like 8. Did I get them all, Kenny?
Well, we got KMC, Siemens.
Siemens, yes, is another one that stepped up. That's right. Thank you to the folks at Siemens.
Functional Devices, ACI, Viconics, Schneider, TAC. And we have about 4 on the fence, but they didn't commit yet, and they moved the time. They begged off until before the 15th. I think Monday we'll probably hear from them. So you're right. It's the thing is, it's not magic, Eric. We've learned each event had posed a different set of logistic issues. And New York was an amazing show, despite the 8-10 inches of weather that came in that morning at New York. They canceled flights, and it was just amazing. It was a shame that we didn't get the full benefit of complete attendance because all the people that were committed to come. But this, we had an opportunity to take advantage of the real estate that's the same contiguous location, so you don't have to go through any cabs or whatever, and you're prepared for the night. This is going to be a crisp, magical show. The stars are going to shine in Chicago, in Chi-Town, and it's going to be a very I think uplifting event, because everybody's going to be excited about the show. The first day, Monday, it's all work and no play on that show. You're standing amongst the gathering of the titans of our industry, and then from there, the people that are coming to the Control Trends show can go right from their booths, freshen up a bit, perhaps come in, have an opportunity to see in less than 2 hours. We'll have a complete presentation of the HVAC industry 2014 with all the hero superstars. And got some really good ideas and entertaining, good stuff, Eric. So again, but it's not magic. So we need the sponsorship, as soon as possible, so that we can make those arrangements and execute, a well, planned event. And all that stuff requires advanced. Anybody looking for a room at this hotel, better move quick, because even though it's August, all the spaces fill up for January. So I mean, it's a quick mover.
No, absolutely, Kenny. It's going to be spectacular, and I can't wait for it. All right, Kenny, anything else before we sign off today?
No, that was it, Eric. Again, we look forward to, we already got things showing up next week, some other products. Again, that is the amazing perennial, just the evolution. Nothing stands still. We've already got several new things we want to cover again as far as new products being released. We've got Neptronics coming up. We've got some other manufacturers. We've got an interview coming out of Washington on a program that saves energy, and we're going to get a little interview there. Like I said, we have one more thing coming up with Therese. So great week coming up.
All right, well, good enough. Well, with that, we are going to sign off. I'm Eric Stromquist. He's Ken Smyers. You've been watching Control Talk Now. We appreciate you guys, and stay in control.
Indeed, Eric.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers.
All right.
Indeed.